Behind the Scene with David Bedein, March 25th, 2020. We are now reporting from Jerusalem about dramatic events taking place. The Palestinian Authority is now accusing Israel of spreading the disease, the coronavirus, to the Palestinian territories. They're doing it through the school system, even though the schools are not operating completely. Teachers, counselors, principals of the Palestinian Authority are now making themselves their presence known amongst Palestinian children, accusing Israel of spreading the disease in a systematic way. This is at a time when 57 cases of coronavirus have been discovered in Gaza, which prompted the Qatar regime to provide Gaza with $350 million for what we don't know, apparently to lick the disease, but at the same time, who knows what's going to happen with that money. It was very important to understand. The context of blaming the Jews is a context we've seen before at times in history when a disease is spread and the people left to blame are the Jews. Now, in the circulation, this well-circulated memo of the Mayor Amit Center for the Study of Terrorism, they show that the schools are now taking memoranda from the PA and putting it out, which say very specifically that the Jewish communities, also known as the Jewish settlements in Judea Samaria, have been designed to infect the Arabs who live not only in Gaza, but also in Judea Samaria itself. Now, we're talking about a system of people who are living in refugee camps run by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, where they are in a constant situation, a constant feeling of feeling depressed, feeling depressed and oppressed, and always thinking about the right of return that they're being denied. Now, what is this right of return? This right of return is from their point of view, guarantees the refugees the right to take back the homes they left in 1948. Now, this is not only a PLO operation, Palestine Liberation Organization operation, but this is also an operation of the 67 nations that pour $1.2 billion into the PA system. Now, what's important to understand is that the leading country that donates money to UNRWA is now Germany, which is giving money without any restrictions whatsoever, and that's very important to know. And we're talking about a $180 million allocation of Germany, which is 54% of which goes to the schools. And the schools, as I mentioned before, are being used for a new curriculum, which alleges that Israel is using the schools and the presence of Israeli soldiers in the areas of refugee camps in order to spread the coronavirus. Now, this is something which is not precedented in terms of the long-standing relationship between Israel and the Palestinian Authority and UNRWA. Things have always been bad, but not this bad. And what this can lead to in the near future is a system that will be a system which will be telecast around the world in a sense, because what we have here is a system which the 67 nations that support UNRWA are actually not only supporting UNRWA, but they take the curriculum of the Palestinian Authority, which is on our website, IsraelBehindTheNews.com, and they send it to all of the donor nations, to the Muslim communities in the donor nations. Now, as you'll see in the video that follows, you'll see some of the new songs being taught by the teachers in the UNRWA camps about exterminating the Jews, and with pictures also of Dalal al-Mughrabi, who is a woman terrorist who conducted a terrorist attack back in March 1978. And she's presented as a role model. But what's important to know is that this program of exterminating the Jews, pictures of killers as role models, combined with the coronavirus, which is being blamed, where they're blaming the Jews, all this creates a new dynamic which is going to affect things for the future. Now, what's important to know is that these 67 donor nations offer the diplomatic pouch of their donor nations in order to send school books abroad. Now, we purchased all of the school books of the Palestinian Authority used for UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. And what we've been following is how the donor nations take these books, which are filled with incitement and indoctrination, and send them abroad. Very, very important to know. Now, the PA and UNRWA have a new ally in the Israeli Knesset. It's called the United Arab List. Now, the United Arab List is basically representing the 20% of the country of Israel who are Arabs. 50 commanding 15 seats, and in the future they might command as many as 24 seats. Right now they command 15 seats in the Knesset Parliament, which has 120 members of the parliament. Now, what's important to know is that these people are not only, whereas for many, many years, the Israeli Arabs competed with one another to prove their loyalty and their responsibility to the state of Israel as a minority that is loyal, a loyal minority. That has basically disappeared from the parlance. What has replaced it is more or less an alliance with the Palestine Liberation Organization, an organization whose purpose is to overthrow the state of Israel according to its own charter, which has never been changed. Now, in the dynamic of what's taken place in the last 48 hours in Israel, is that the Palestinian Authority, the people loyal to the Palestinian Authority in the Israeli Knesset, the Arab members of Knesset, have been given the responsibility, we'll see how long the responsibility lasts, to organize the subcommittee of the Knesset Parliament, which will handle Arab terror victims in terms of all the compensation they have coming to them. Now, this is the kind of irony that if I told it as a Purim joke we have the Purim meal as part of the Purim festival, I said, hey, the people who are going to handle the compensation to Israeli terror victims is an Arab party made up of people who actually identify with terrorism, and are with the most prominent Arab being someone named Dr. Ahmed Tibi, who was the advisor to Yasser Arafat, PLO chairman Yasser Arafat, while Arafat was carrying out these murders. In other words, Ahmed Tibi will be getting the responsibility to help the Arab terror victims of the people that he helped to maim and murder. This is not the kind of thing that had I said I'd appeared on a broadcast 3 weeks ago at the time of Purim, they said, oh, this is a joke and very, very bad taste. However, this is the reality that we face right now. Now, what will follow this situation will be a debate in the Israeli parliament, which will be, which is also known as the Knesset, which will be unprecedented on this kind of issue, with the accusation which is going to be presented by the Israel Terror Victims Association of the Arab parties of being something of a fifth column. This is something that we've never seen before in Israel. Now, what's vital to understand, to see the context of all this, is that there had not been a committee before in the Knesset to handle terror victims. Now there is, and it'll be run by Arabs. Now, in the last few hours before this telecast took place, is taking place, there was a major switch in the Israeli political system. We had thought that there would be something of a deadlock in the Israeli Knesset between Mr. Gantz, General Gantz of the Blue and White Party, and outgoing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of the Likud. What has occurred now in the last few hours before this telecast is that Gantz and Netanyahu are going together, and Gantz is suggesting himself as the new chairman of the Knesset, new speaker of the Knesset, and his two coalition partners, Moshe Ya'alon and Yair Lapid, have left him. So that means that there's a very different kind of a situation, and it could be that the promise of the committee, which I just discussed and just gave you the details of, the special committee of the Knesset to handle terror victims, will not come to fruition. So we have in Israel a situation of total change all the time. Now, I'm sitting in my home just outside Jerusalem, basically like people around the world, confined to our homes because of the virus, which has gone around the world. And in order to prevent the spread of the virus, people are asked to stay in their homes, and that's what we're doing here in Israel and around the world. As I reported in the previous broadcast only yesterday, actually 2 days ago, was that there are now very severe restrictions on being allowed to leave the home. Public transportation has been canceled in Israel, and people are stuck in their homes doing all their work here. We don't know what's going to happen with the economy. It's something to see in the near future. So this is how it is today, behind the scenes with David Bedein. And what I'm going to do is now show you some clips of our recent filming of the UNRWA refugee camps. Now, it's very, very strange to call them refugee camps because you won't see people living in squalor. You'll see people living in not the best of conditions, but certainly not a place of total desolation. You'll see refugee camps, but you'll see children who are going to summer camp and going to school. Seemingly normal schools, normal summer camps, except the theme of the school and the summer camp is what they call the right of return by force of arms. More to come tomorrow as we continue to bring you behind the scene with David Bedein, and I thank you for watching today.
The new U.S. peace plan for the Middle East demands an end to incitement and violence.
And the president did something unique. He recognized basically the conditions on the ground, recognized reality, that in order for these two groups to live in peace, there's going to have to be some give and take here. And one of those pieces of the give is to understand you cannot continue down the road of indoctrination if there's going to be any peace in the region. That just makes sense. And so that's what the president wants to ensure happens to protect the people of Israel.
72 years after the Arab-Israeli War, 5 million descendants of Arab refugees from 1948 still dwell in the squalor of 59 refugee camps. The camps are run by UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The residents are indoctrinated with the notion that they have the right to return to villages that existed before 1948. This is a core principle of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization.
لازم نقاومهم ونرجع أراضينا.
نرجع على أراضينا المحتلة في 48 اللد وعكا ويافا والآخر.
حق العودة إنه نرجع بلادنا زي ما شردونا الاحتلال بقوة من أرضنا، ولازم إحنا نطلعهم زي ما طلعونا بقوة.
لن نتخلى عن حق العودة ولن نرضى بأي وطن بديل وبأي عاصمة غير القدس الشريف. سنعود إلى ديارنا.
لكن نجي بنقعدهم إنه أنت إيش بلدك إيش بلدك إيش بلدك. الأطفال اللي بتعرفوا على كذا بلد، مش أنا بس القدس، لا إذا أنا وطني فلسطين في كذا مدينة. يعني في بصير انتماء أكثر للطفل. يعني بصير الأطفال هنا يعني ما بيخلي يعني حتى الآن صار الولد عند الطفل أو البنت إنه صارت كتير متشوقة ترجع لبلدها الأصلي.
أنا بشوف كل ما يمر يوم على النكبة وعلى التهجير كل ما اقترب موعد العودة إن شاء الله. العودة والتعويض ولا بديل ولا بديل ولا بديل.
ثقافة حق العودة أكيد نركز عليها كثيرا، وأكيد هذا هو جزء لا يتجزأ من ثقافة مناهجنا الدراسية. نعطيهم نوصل هاي المعلومات لطلابنا في مدارسنا عن طريق مواد التربية المدنية والتربية الوطنية.
السلام عليكم. بدي أسألكم من وين أنتم أصلكم؟ من أي بلد؟ وبعدين بنحكي عن النكبة شوي. تفضل. من أي بلد؟
من فلسطين.
من حيفا، يافا.
إحنا من حيفا.
من حيفا.
من يافا. من قضا يافا بيت دجن.
بيت دجن.
يافا قضا يافا. راجع بلادي راجع بلادي على أرض الأقصى راجع بلادي أنا ولادي على أرض الأقصى راجع بلادي يا محلى القعدة يا محلى القعدة في حكورتنا يا محلى القعدة ما بنسى وعدة ما بنسى وعدة نرجع أرضنا وما بنسى وعدة.
Because of the antithetical culture of UNRWA, Arab refugees remain in the camps. UNRWA provides health, education, and health services, At the same time, it promotes an ideology that perpetuates war, encouraging residents to remain in their homes until they can conquer Israel and create a new country of Palestine. For decades, the United States was the lead donor to UNRWA, paying for about half its $1.2 billion budget. The U.S. stopped funding UNRWA last year after it determined that American tax dollars had been used to prolong the suffering of yet another generation of refugees. Within UNRWA schools, peace is never discussed. Instead, war is taught daily in prose and in songs.
لا مش حيصير بين احنا واسرائيل لانه شردونا وقتلونا. انه الاحتلال يعرف انه احنا انه هاي الارض إلنا ومش إلهم، انه يعني هاي مش ارض بلا شعب، هاي ارض عليها شعب فلسطيني. فيش سلام بيننا وبين اسرائيل لانه بخربوا حقوق الفلسطينية انهم يرجعوا لبلادهم. اكيد لا، لانه احنا لا بنعرفهم ولا هم بيعرفونا. مش راح يكون سلام بيننا وبين اسرائيل لانه اسرائيل هي عدوتنا.
وانا بحب ارجع على كفر قاسم غصبا عن اليهود وانتصر على اليهود. هم مجموعة من الكفار والناصرة ولا بيحبوا الله ولا بيعبدوا الله وبكرهونا.
نحن الثورة والغضب، نحن من الأجيال من هون من عنا انكتب تاريخ الأبطال. نحن الثورة والغضب، نحن من الأجيال من هون من عنا انكتب تاريخ الأبطال.
ولما أم الختيارة صبح نادت عالجارة وتلاجا الحجارة تنرشك عالدورية تنرشك عالدورية.
فلسطين الناس نبيحها بضلهم عنا فلسطين الحرة، نرجع بلادنا لازم نهجم عليهم.
قول إن شاء الله سنة وراح نحررها، لازم نحررهم عشان نرجع أرضنا.
لازم نقاومهم ونرجع أرضنا اللي أخذوها منا. هي لما أجوا طلعونا منها بالقوة، إحنا لازم نطلعهم من بلادها بالقوة وغصب عنهم راح يطلعوا. مش راح تضل إسرائيل في فلسطين، لأنه فلسطين مش للبيع والقدس مش للبيع، راح تضلها إلنا. القدس عاصمة فلسطين الأبدية.
نحاربهم ونقاومهم يعني بأكتر إشي بنقدر نعمله.
في القرآن الكريم مكتوب إنه زوال إسرائيل راح يتم على يد الفلسطينيين.
At UNRWA schools, education is not limited to texts and is not confined to the classroom. Inside schoolyards, students pass by violent graffiti that glorifies killers. One of the Palestinian heroes is Dalal Mughrabi, whose image adorns alleyways near UNRWA schools and neighborhoods. In 1978, she led a terror gang that commandeered a bus and murdered 38 passengers, including 13 children. On the paths of UNRWA camps, children speak about Mughrabi with awe and reverence.
صور شهداء سووا عمليات، إنها سووا عمليات لأجل الوطن. يعني دلال المغربي سوت عملية تفجير وفجرت حالها عند الجيش.
يعني زي أختي وأمي بنت بلدي.
دلال المغربي هي شهيدة فلسطينية شردت فجرت اليهود وهجرتهم.
دلال المغربي أول شهيدة فلسطينية. فجرت من الجيش الإسرائيلي، يعني سوت عملية استشهادية.
UNRWA schools portray Mughrabi as a role model. In its current curriculum, Mughrabi's photo appears in a study book for third graders. It is a key lesson in Our Beautiful Language, a new textbook issued in 2019. On page 63, pupils learn to chant the Land of the Nobles. The assignment calls for kids to liberate Palestine and to exterminate the current residents of Israel, the Jews. Here they chant the song in the classroom. Their lethal melodies do not resonate just in the classroom. Here, a teacher leads the same war song during a field trip as children prepare for the liberation of Palestine with toy guns.
وأزيل الغاصب من بلدي وأبيد فلول الغرباء يا بلد الأقصى والحرم يا مهد النخوة والكرم صبرا صبرا فالنصر لنا والفجر يطل من الظلم قسما سأضحي بدمائي لأروي أرض الكرماء لأروي أرض الكرماء
When we visited UNRWA schools, we found students eager to deny the existence of Israel or any Jewish connection to the land.
طب ايش اتعلمت عن اسرائيل؟
انهم الكلاب باخذوا ارضنا. فيش دولة اسمها اسرائيل. محتلة فلسطين.
وفيش بعدين اشي اسمه اسرائيل.
هل ممكن الاسرائيليين يضلوا هون في فلسطين؟
لا، بنهجرهم من هون. تعلمنا انه احنا لازم ما نخليش اراضينا لحد بنعرفهم مش، ولازم ما نسكتش عن حق. فيش شيء اسمه اسرائيل لانه احنا اسمها دولة اسرائيل. احنا بس فلسطين إلنا. مستقبل القدس ان شاء الله راح تكون إلنا. اكيد على اكيد، وفيش شيء لا اسرائيل ولا شيء اسمه اسرائيل.
Given America's new insistence that Palestinians eliminate incitement and violence, perhaps more UNRWA donor countries will ask why they allow millions to live as refugees in perpetuity. More than 70 years after the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, over 2 million Palestinians are registered with United Nations refugee camps in Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza. The camps are run by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, known as UNRWA. The $1.2 billion UN organization operates with little oversight and a Wild West mindset that is best known for corruption. It uses its schools as a political platform to indoctrinate children. Children are imbued with a mix of political and religious propaganda that encourages jihad or holy war. They are taught that Israel must be destroyed and replaced by a Palestinian country. Recently, there's been a subtle strategic shift in Palestinian politics. Students are now being told that education is central to their future. But their traditional narrative remains the same. Leaders, parents, and teachers continue to emphasize that one day Palestinians will be granted the right of return, a demand that would allow refugees to take back villages from before 1948 that no longer exist. Palestinian children are taught that their real homes are in cities in modern-day Israel, not far from where they now live. When we visited the Aida UNRWA refugee camp in Bethlehem, students expressed their nationalistic identity near the camp entrance. A massive key sits above the main entry, serving as the Palestinian symbol of the right of return.
أنا ريان طارق عمري 6 سنين.
من أي قرية أنت ريان؟
من قرية المالحة.
أنا اسمي
غزا الكوار، وأنا أصلي الحقيقي من قرية المالحة، وأنا لاجئة من قرية المالحة، وأنا ساكن هلقيت في المخيم، ويا ريت إحنا نرجع هلقيت على وطننا مشان إحنا بنشتاق له كثير. أنا اسمي ياسا وعمري 10 سنين ومن قرية المالحة.
أنا من سهير عواد، بشتغل في مركز الرواد معلمة في وحدة التعليم. أنا من قرية المالحة.
This is modern-day Malcha in Jerusalem. It's now a prominent residential neighborhood. It's also a center for high-tech, home of the city's largest shopping mall and the site of Jerusalem's sports stadium. While taught the right of return, there's no mixed message from Palestinian leadership when it comes to the subject of peace. At the entrance of the same UNRWA camp where these students are taught, Palestinians held a demonstration against the United States and the peace process. They burned effigies of President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence.
حكم الإعدام بحق الرئيس الأمريكي بتهمة خيانة الفلسطينيين وتسريب القدس وبيع القدس إلى الإسرائيليين.
رسالة الشعب الفلسطيني اليوم وبأنه لا يمكن أن يقبل بما يسمى صفقة القرن.
من يصادر أموال الشعب الفلسطيني ومن يحاول إغلاق مؤسسات الأونروا في محاولة لقطع حياة ومعيشة الناس يجب أن يحاكم، ويجب أن يحاكم بجريمة قتل الأرواح، وهذا جزء من المحاكمة الشعبية اللي تجري لهذه القيادة الأمريكية.
These days, education is the buzzword in Palestinian schools.
أبهزم اليهود بالعلم تبعي، فهيك احنا بتصير الوحدة مع بعض، وهيك انا بعلمي بهزم اليهود.
انا عشان ارجع قريتي عشان من طريق العلم وعشان اقاوم في الحجاب.
At a gleaming new cultural children's center in Aida, children learn computer skills and dance programs. While the center's director stresses education, his desire for jihad is not far from his office desk. On a wall hangs this dictum: "Here we will stay. In Lydda, in Ramla, in the Galilee, we shall remain, like a wall on your chest, and in your throat, like a shard of glass, a cactus thorn, and in your eyes, a sandstorm." When we asked students about their future, they told us there's no curriculum for coexistence or recognition of Israel. Rather, above all, their ideology is still focused on violence and armed struggle with Israel, which they hope will result in the creation of one state, the country of Palestine.
طب ايش بدك تصير لما تكبر؟
أصير رئيس حرر فلسطين. نفسي أصير رئيس زي أبو عمار صدام حسين.
شو ممكن لازم نسوي مع اليهود عشان نحل الموضوع؟
نقاومهم، بس شرط حجارة طخ عليه بعلم شهادة.
فيش شيء اسمه دولة واحدة وإيش اسمه دولتين، ها بس اسمها فلسطين وراح تظل طول عمرها فلسطين، وما أخذ بالقوة سيسترد فقط بالقوة.
لازم نسترد الأرض بالقوة، يعني أخذوها بالقوة لازم نستردها بالقوة. فيش حل آخر، يعني الدولة لنا، يعني كيف يجوا يأخذوا الأرض منا أو يتقاسموها معنا؟ بزبطش، حقنا هم.
ممكن يعني ممكن يكون في سلام بين الدولتين أو؟
أكيد لا، بعد كل هالشهداء والجرحى والأسرى أكيد لا. بعدين أرضنا، يعني زي ما حكيت لك، بزبطش.
طب شو الحل يعني؟
إن نستردها بالقوة الأرض، إن نجتمع العرب، يجتمعوا ويرجعوا زي ما موجود في القرآن الكريم، إنه راح يجي حدا يحررها. شخص كيف صلاح الدين أجى عصر صلاح الدين، راح يجي واحد زي صلاح الدين ويحرر فلسطين.
They also praised Muhammad Asaf, the official youth ambassador for UNRWA.
أنا بعرف أغاني محمد عساف، إنها حلوة، إنها لبلدنا هي الأغاني.
شو بتعرف أغاني محمد عساف؟
عن دم فلسطين.
Among Arab youth, Asaf is wildly popular for his violent music videos that promote jihad and the destruction of Israel.
بلدي غني
كل شيء كوفية على الكوفية
علي الكوفي وعلم يخلي البارود يهلم.
This film reinforces the fact that children of all ages who attend a modern UN school minutes away from Jerusalem are taught to continue the war against the Jews from morning to night. As the UNRWA mandate is being renewed, the time has come for the UN agency to teach education for peace.